So far, we've marked our clips for editing, we've performed insert and overwrite edits, and we've learned to move and swap material around in the timeline. Now, all of this assumes that you've marked and edited the perfect amount and the perfect content, which really couldn't be further from reality. You're constantly needing to shift what material you edit into the timeline, and that's where trimming comes into play. Now, we're going to be looking at an entire chapter on trimming next in Chapter 5. There are so many different ways to adjust your shots and your transitions once you've edited them into the timeline. But in this movie, I'm just going to cover one method, which is the basic trim. All right, so my sequence is comprised of our main interviews here on V1 and our supplemental B-roll here on V2. The interviews are in pretty good shape, but I do think I want to change the position and duration of some of my B-roll clips here. In particular, I have some things right in this section that I want to change. I'm going to play it so you can hear it to the music. So right in here, I think the music can really help us along. There's a lot of really cool beats there, but I'm really not cutting to the beat the way that I would like. So I want to trim some shots and move some shots around so that things are cutting together a little bit better. All right, I'm going to zoom in, plus, and specifically I'm just going to play this section again one more time. All right, so where the music sort of changes there, I want to start this shot. So I'm going to play, and then I'm just going to stop where that music changes. About right there. Let me back up just a little bit. I'll go back with J. All right, I think I have it right there. The trumpet's about to start. All right, so my playhead is here. So what I'm going to do is just grab the edge of this clip here and then drag. And notice that when I do, just like when we move clips, the trim snaps to my playhead. So that's very useful. This is called a reductive trim, in which I am trimming away frames and it leaves a gap in its wake. Now I can grab the shots to the left of the gap and move them down if I want. Let's go ahead and try that. All right, it snaps to the playhead again, and let me play this. All right, I think that worked out really well. I'm going to play one more time and just notice how everything is cutting to the beat a lot better now. And we do have a gap here, so what I'm going to do is just grab this and trim it over and fill that in. Now I also want to show you what you can't do using this method. So what I did was just a reductive trim. I trimmed away frames. And if, for example, I come to this clip and I wanted to perform an additive trim, which means that I'm adding frames, I can do it, no problem. But that's because I'm trimming into a gap. I'll undo that, Command Z. You cannot, however, perform an additive trim where there is no gap. So let's take a look back here. If I grab this shot and say, actually, I want to add a few frames to the left of this, notice that it doesn't let me, okay? So where there is no gap, I cannot perform an additive trim using just the basic trim. Again, there is a way that I can do this very easily using a different type of trim, which we'll learn in the next chapter. Also, one more thing. I'm going to come to my Anita B-roll here. I'll just play this so you can see where we're at.
Blows away.
I love it! Oh my god, it's awesome! Oh, I'm so excited. This is so nice. If someone's on the fence about...
So let's say that I'd like to trim this shot back, but just her video. Notice that when I click on the edge, both video and audio are selected so that when I trim it back, they both go. I'll undo that, Command Z. If I just want to trim video, for example, I'm going to have to untoggle my linked selection. When I do that, I can grab just my video back like this, and I can put another piece of B-roll here. Let's undo that again, and I'm going to turn link selection back on. And there is a way to temporarily enable this behavior even when link selection is on. I can just Option click right here on the edge, and that's an Alt click on a PC. And I can trim this back, and notice that I'm just trimming the video and leaving the audio intact. My link between the video and audio is temporarily broken, and I can focus on trimming one or the other. But if I click on any other edge, they're both selected. Again, we'll get a lot more into the nitty-gritty details of trimming a little bit later, but knowing some of the capabilities and limitations of the basic trim will get you started as you start to refine your sequence.